I watched a Ram owner get quoted $800 for a DPF regeneration that took him 20 minutes in his driveway. Another guy paid $400 to have his dealer reset a service light using the exact same gas pedal his foot was sitting on. After 20 years of working on these trucks, I can tell you Ram built some of the most owner-friendly diagnostics into their dashboards. The problem is, nobody at the dealership will walk you through them, so I will. Number 1. Read your own engine codes without a scanner. Every Ram truck with a physical key ignition has a built-in code reader that your dealer will never mention. Turn the ignition from off to on 3 times within 5 seconds without starting the engine. Watch the odometer display on the instrument cluster. Stored engine fault codes will scroll across the screen. When it reads done, that means no active faults. This works on 3rd generation and 4th generation trucks, going all the way back to 2002. I have personally used this trick hundreds of times in the shop when the scan tool was across the building. It reads the same codes a basic scanner would pull, and it saves you the $100 to $150 diagnostic fee. But reading codes is just the start. Your instrument cluster has an entire hidden test mode that goes even deeper. Number 2. The instrument cluster self-test. Hold the trip reset button on the instrument cluster while turning the key to on without starting the engine. After about 3 seconds, release it. Every gauge sweeps through its full range. Every warning light illuminates, and hidden cluster fault codes scroll across the display. But the real gem is what comes next. Press and hold the trip button again, and the display shows your engine's total hour meter. Hours are critical for accurate maintenance scheduling, especially on a diesel, and I bet you had no idea this screen even exists. I dug into the Ram forums on this one and found guys who owned their trucks for 10 years without knowing about it. Number 3. Reset your oil life with a gas pedal. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen guys pay the dealer to reset this light after doing their own oil change. On 3rd generation trucks, turn the ignition to on without starting the engine and press the gas pedal to the floor 3 times within 10 seconds. Turn it off and the oil life resets. On 4th generation trucks, use the steering wheel controls to go to vehicle info, select oil life, and hold the OK button until it confirms. On 5th generation trucks, the same method applies, but you must be in the run position by pressing the start button twice without your foot on the brake. Accessory mode will not work. I promise you, that is the reason you think this trick is broken. For Cummins diesels, the CCV filter service light has its own sequence. Key on, press the brake pedal twice, press the gas pedal to the floor twice, then key off. That CCV filter change costs dealers over $1,200 in labor, but I have done it in 30 minutes with a $30 filter. Number 4. Uconnect engineering mode gives you a free factory reset. This is one of my favorites because it makes you feel like you are hacking into the truck. On 4th generation trucks with the 8.4-inch Uconnect screen, press and hold both the driver's side temperature up and temperature down buttons at the same time for about 10 seconds. A hidden engineering menu appears with options including factory reset, system diagnostics, and touchscreen calibration. That factory reset is the only reliable fix I have found for GPS problems, ghost touch, and Bluetooth corruption. Dealers charge $100 to $250 for this. On 5th generation trucks, the engineering menu was removed, but the factory reset moved to settings, then system, then reset options. For any Uconnect that freezes, hold the volume and tuner knobs together for about 15 seconds. I use that soft reboot probably once a month, and it fixes most screen problems without losing saved data. Number 5. The MDS disable trick that is secretly destroying your engine. This one is going to upset some people because it is the most popular Hemi hack on the internet, and I think it is doing more harm than good. The gear limiter trick, where you press the minus button and then the plus button back to 8th gear, keeps the engine on all 8 cylinders and stops that annoying MDS shudder. Here is the problem I found after digging into the engineering inside the Hemi valve train. The MDS solenoid oil circuit is the only way pressurized oil reaches the lifter bores on cylinders 1, 4, 6, and 7. The Hemi has an unusually tall distance between the cam and the crankshaft, which means splash lubrication from below barely reaches those upper lifters. When you disable MDS in software but keep the MDS lifters installed, you are potentially starving those 4 cylinders of oil and accelerating the exact failure you were trying to prevent. A proper MDS delete requires non-MDS lifters, a different camshaft, block plugs, and a tune. That runs $2,500 to $4,500. For preventive maintenance without the full delete, I personally recommend oil changes every 5,000 miles. Installing a high-pressure oil pump that raises idle oil pressure by 5 to 10 pounds per square inch for about $200 to $400 in parts, and cycling the key 2 on 3 or 4 times before cranking to build oil pressure before the engine turns over. That pre-start trick costs nothing, and I do it every time I start a Hemi. Number 6. The hidden physical key and the $3 battery trick. Every RAM key fob has a physical emergency key blade hidden inside. Slide the release latch near the bottom, and the key pulls right out. I keep telling people this because every time someone gets locked out with a dead fob, they panic and call a locksmith for $150, when the answer is literally in their hand. That emergency key opens the driver's door lock cylinder, which is hidden behind a small cap on the door handle on newer models. Speaking of fob batteries, I have seen dealers charge $50 to $75 to swap one. The battery inside is a standard coin cell that costs about $3 at any hardware store. Pop the fob case open with a coin, swap the battery keeping the same orientation, and snap the case back together. No reprogramming is needed, and the whole thing takes about 60 seconds at your kitchen table. Number 7. The 12-volt outlet fuse trick nobody talks about. 5th generation Ram trucks have a fuse that sits in a 3-position slot in the fuse box. Slide it one direction and the outlet connects to the battery and stays powered all the time, even with the truck off. Slide it the other direction and it only powers up when the ignition is on. This means you can run a dash cam 24 hours a day or keep a GPS tracker powered without any wiring modifications. This feature is not documented anywhere in the owner's manual. 4th generation trucks have a similar dual position slot. I stumbled onto this Ram fuse box trick from a forum post and honestly could not believe it was a factory feature. Number 8. Force your own diesel particulate filter regeneration and skip the $800 dealer visit. This is the trick that honestly made me want to make this video. When your Ram diesel's exhaust filter gets clogged with soot and the dash throws a warning. Dealers charge $300 to $800 for a stationary regeneration service. I think that is ridiculous when you can handle it yourself 3 different ways. First, load 500 plus pounds in the bed and drive at highway speed for 20 to 45 minutes without stopping. The computer initiates regeneration automatically. Second, on eco-diesel trucks, idle the engine, shift to neutral, hold the brake, and floor the accelerator. The governed RPM tricks the computer into thinking you are driving. Third, diagnostic software connected through a Bluetooth adapter lets you command a forced regeneration from your phone. The engine holds steady for 35 to 40 minutes until the filter reads completely clean. The entire software and adapter setup costs about $200 and pays for itself after one use. And that phone app and Bluetooth adapter I just mentioned for the forced regeneration, it does a whole lot more than that. Number 9. A $49 app replaces your dealer scan tool. This is the one tool I recommend to every Ram owner who asks me what to buy first. Diagnostic software paired with an adapter and a security bypass module for newer trucks gives you the same access dealers get with their factory tools. I am talking about reading every control module, activating a factory trailer brake controller, correcting your speedometer for oversized tires, programming key fobs, and running cylinder tests. If you are finding this helpful, hit subscribe. I cover Ram maintenance tips and money-saving tricks every week. Now, I do need to give you one critical warning. Never change the vehicle line or vehicle brand settings. I have seen that mistake leave a truck completely dead and require an expensive dealer reflash. Number 10. The Cummins grid heater bolt that can destroy your engine. This one genuinely scares me because the fix takes 30 seconds and the failure costs $10,000 or more. On every 6.7-liter Cummins from mid-2007 through 2024, a single bolt securing the grid heater's electrical connection near the fuel rail can corrode, melt through, and fall directly into cylinder number 6. When it does, the piston slams into it, and you are looking at catastrophic engine damage. Check the 10mm nut on the grid heater stud periodically. If it wiggles at all, the bolt is failing. An upgraded replacement kit costs about $200 and is arguably the single most important preventive item on any Cummins Ram truck. Now let me show you something a little less scary and a lot more satisfying. Number 11. Program a new key fob yourself and save hundreds. Dealer key fob programming runs $250 to $500. On 4th generation trucks, if you already have 2 working fobs, programming a third is free. To do it yourself, insert the first fob, turn the key to on, wait a few seconds, turn it off, and remove it. Repeat with the second fob. Insert the new blank fob and turn the key to on. After 10 seconds, the security light flashes, confirming success. Blank fobs cost $15 to $25 online. For 5th generation trucks, you need a phone app, a small adapter, and a security bypass cable. Total cost comes to roughly $150 versus up to $500 at the dealer. I walked a buddy through this in his garage last year, and it took about 15 minutes after he had been quoted $400. Number 12. Hemi spark plugs cost $120 to replace at home and $1,300 at the dealer. Hemi engines use 16 spark plugs, 2 per cylinder, and dealers typically quote $800 to $1,300 for replacement. I did my first set in my driveway. The plugs cost $7 to $12 each online, about $120 to $190 total. The one tool you need is a magnetic swivel spark plug socket that reaches the plugs buried behind the brake booster on the driver's side. I am not exaggerating when I say this single socket makes or breaks the job. Apply nickel anti-seize on the threads before installing into the aluminum heads. I personally recommend pulling them at 30 to 40,000 miles just to reapply anti-seize, so they never seize permanently in those aluminum threads. But if you think spark plug markup is bad, wait until you hear what they are charging for transfer case fluid. Number 13. Transfer case fluid at the dealer costs 4 times what it should. This is one of those things that makes me shake my head every time I see the invoice. Mopar branded transfer case fluid runs $30 to $60 per quart, and it is frequently back-ordered nationwide. I did some research and found it is essentially rebranded Mobile Fluid LT, which you can buy in a 5-gallon pail for about $125. That is the equivalent of paying around $5 a quart versus $30 to $60 for the Mopar label on the bottle. For the newer transfer cases in 2019 and up Ram 1500s, there is an even better alternative fluid that runs about $14 per quart versus $60 for the Mopar part number. For the heavy-duty transfer cases in 2016 and up trucks, a quality synthetic multi-vehicle fluid meets the spec and provides smoother 4-wheel drive engagement than the factory fill at a third of the price. And here is something that really surprised me when I dug into this. Multiple Ram owners have reported that their trucks came from the factory approximately half a quart low on transfer case fluid from day one. Checking and topping off your transfer case at delivery is free insurance, and I recommend doing it on any new Ram before you even put real miles on it. Number 14. The exhaust manifold bolt fix for $100. Virtually every Hemi eventually cracks or breaks exhaust manifold bolts on the rearmost cylinders. I have fixed more of these than I can count. Cast iron manifolds on aluminum heads create relentless thermal stress. Dealers charge $500 to $1,000 per side. I do the fix for about $100 to $200 total. Soak the bolts with penetrating oil for a few days, remove the manifolds, Sand the mating surfaces flat, install compressed graphite gaskets, and use stainless steel bolts with anti-seize. For already broken bolts, weld a nut onto the stud and back it out. I learned that trick early in my career, and it has saved me countless headaches. Number 15, DEF, diesel exhaust fluid, saves you 80%. I still cannot believe how many diesel owners buy the dealer-branded fluid. All DEF is chemically identical regardless of brand. Dealer fluid runs $7 to $14 per gallon. Truck stop pumps sell the exact same thing for $2 to $3. Farm supply stores sell 5-gallon jugs for around $13 total. I keep a $15 refractometer in my toolbox to test DF quality before pouring it in. That prevents the expensive sensor failures caused by degraded fluid. And never fill your DF tank past 75% in cold weather because the tank heater struggles with a full tank, and overfilling triggers crystallization on the quality sensor. Alright, this next one is not about saving money on Ram diesel fluid. It is about saving your sanity every time you sit at a red light. Number 16. Permanently disable auto start-stop for $85. I have never met a 5th generation Ram owner who likes the engine start-stop system. Not one. Every time you stop at a red light, the engine shuts off, and when you lift off the brake pedal, there is that annoying hesitation before it fires back up. The factory off button on the dash resets every single time you start the truck, which drives people crazy. A plug-and-play eliminator device connects in line to the Ram's wiring harness behind the dashboard and remembers your preference across ignition cycles. It costs about $85 to $100, does not alter any vehicle programming, and unplugging it restores factory behavior instantly. A free workaround is engaging tow haul mode, which also prevents the system from activating, but it resets each drive too. Number 17. Cold weather secrets buried in your Ram software. This one blew my mind when I first found it. Below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, if your Ram has remote start, it automatically activates the driver's heated seat on high, the heated steering wheel, the heated mirrors, and the rear defroster. This only happens if you have turned on the auto heated seat option in Uconnect settings. I went an entire winter without knowing this existed. The temperature sensor is on the exterior driver's side mirror, so direct sunlight on a cold morning can prevent those features from kicking in. Set your climate to auto with your preferred temperature before you leave the truck at night. For Cummins diesels in extreme cold, use the cruise control buttons to raise idle to about 1500 RPM while parked for faster cabin heating. I always run a quality anti-gel additive in winter, and I use a double dose below minus 15 degrees. If you take one thing from this video, make it this. Your Ram was designed to be owner serviceable. A small investment in the right tools and a little forum knowledge can save you $2,000 to $5,000 a year compared to following a dealer's service schedule. If you want to see which Ram engine I personally think is the most reliable, that video is on screen right now.